we're back, people, and today we're working on film on Storm Duck, Miami Dolphins cornerback. Gonna go over this past season and kind of like what I have expectations-wise for him in year two, because corner is one of those positions right now where things are really, really up for grabs and can go either way. And Duck got a lot of playing time last year. For a UDFA, like, Duck saw the field a lot. Like, he definitely went above and beyond what you would expect for UDFA expectations. Now, there were definitely some growing pains. There's some things you want to see better. But there were still, like, good things to take away on the film. And I do think a second year in the system will be a huge help for him. I think he showed more confidence as the season went on and comfortability. There are certain things I think, he is better at, and I think a reason I do think we could see a second-year jump, we've talked about it, the Dolphins playing more potentially press man and stuff like that. I think Duck, the reason he made the team, if you go back to his preseason film, was his ability in press man, like, because a lot of teams just run their basic press man stuff in preseason because, they don't want to do anything too crazy. Throughout the regular season, they didn't run a ton of it, but Duck, in the regular season, when he was in press man, looked comfortable. He's willing to get physical at the line, even in, like, cover two situations. Willing to be involved in run support, but I think like he's at his best in press man. I think in zone he gets a little uncomfortable, like working against route concepts, especially when playing shallow zones, like where he's underneath and things get behind him. I don't think he has a great feel for that. He's more better when like he can kind of see it and feel the break happening, reading the receivers through to the quarterback, that type of thing. But even in like the reps he lost on press man, it wasn't like he had bad reps. He just got like slightly beat at the last second versus good receivers, which, it's going to happen in one-on-one situations like that. But I think overall, like, most things to like with Storm Duck, I think, like, you go back here, I'm only showing one preseason clip from last year, but this is what they were just doing. This is just basically what was happening. Duck in press man, isolated on the boundary one-on-one, and he stays patient, he stays square, does a good job playing with good, like, bend, body lean, he gets a little bit of an inch back, and once this guy commits to the outside, then he starts to open his hip, play with high upfield shoulder leverage. He's in good spot here. Turn, locate the ball, and then, knock that ball out. I think Duck's very comfortable in those situations. That was just basically what helped him make the team, was those types of reps in preseason. But when you get to the regular season, they weren't running a ton of that. Duck, I actually think this Raiders game was probably his most consistent game, like covering Trey Tucker. Like, I think he can cover receivers to that level. It's not like Trey Tucker's horrible. I think Duck, when like asked to like get isolated on really good receivers, like he definitely would struggle. He's not gonna play to that elite level, but I think like this is some good mirror and match ability that he tries to get him with, like the diamond release, break to the inside, and Duck just stays patient. He stays square initially. Once Tucker releases the outside, tries to break back to the inside. He just maintains that inside leverage. Once he does that, boom, kind of stay physical. You're in under 5 yards there. Use your length to your advantage. Duck's a pretty good athlete. I think transitions, he can get in trouble sometimes when he has to like really like open his hips and then change directions in the opposite directions he opened his hip. I think he can be a little bit hips be pretty stiff in that scenario. But there are examples of him exploding downhill, like when he is playing more like with a flat foot read and he can explode. I think his downhill transitions can be pretty good. That's a good rep. Here he is getting downhill versus screen, recognize it, beat the blocker to the point of attack. This is like his real first action in the league, like playing in that Titans game. Had some ups and downs, but still would make positive impact plays. Duck's going to get given a shot. I wouldn't be surprised if he's like one of the starting corners for a majority of the season, like with Kohu. Because I think the Dolphins really like him. I think Weaver really likes Storm Duck. I wouldn't mind seeing the other guys get a chance. Like, I think that's pretty close. Like, I think Storm Duck and Ethan Bonner are very close, but Bonner didn't get a shot to play at all last year. Actually, they kind of like Bonner a little bit better, in my opinion, but there's things to definitely like with Duck. Dolphins have a lot of overachievers. I think that's kind of what they're expecting with their young UDFA group. It's like UDFA's in late round picks pretty much in the corner room, and I think they're hoping like these are just guys who are hungry and step up because they were hungry enough to make the team, and they just keep kind of putting in work because they do have pretty good athletic profiles for the most part. Like guys that have the athleticism and fit, like, size profile to play at the NFL level. It's just maybe developing them in other areas, like adding instincts. Here he is in the red zone 1-on-1, playing like quads down the red zone quarters. The tight end tries to run like a 7-stop. He kind of feels it. Like I'm saying, when he's playing zone, it's more so like when the guy kind of works into his area. He has like, he's reading the receiver. Like he has his eyes on him. He's able to sink his hips, feel that, and be in the right position. Does a better job like when he's gotten over the top in the zone stuff. Like here, basically matched up one-on-one. Like they're playing basically a variation of zone match, but he's basically one-on-one with Trey Tucker, and you could see like in the back pedal, like slow back pedal transition, get out of it. Like I'm saying, like the transitions are a lot better like when he's either flat-footed or like he's in more of a slower back pedal. Doesn't have to completely stop to change direction. I believe if you look at like his relative athletic score, the only area he didn't test very well in was the agility stuff. That's kind of not his big strength, but does a pretty good job transitioning, closing in a position where like if that ball is thrown accurately, he would have made a play to stop it down. Versus Trey Tucker again, who was, the Raiders' like second best receiver. He had some pretty good solid reps. Here versus Davante Adams. He did get beat in this game by Davante Adams at one point, but he also had like solid reps here playing in a trail technique, outside leverage. He understands like, hey, Adams inside releases. I have help to the inside with a deep middle of the field safety and cover one. Stay in the hip pocket. Guy tries to don't get caught over because like sometimes in this position people can get stacked and get like completely even with Adams. You want to maintain that outside leverage position so now he can feel this and get in better positioning. They try to throw him in the corner. No shot there. Pretty good rep from Duck. This is the last game of the season too, so this is like the most recent action that Duck is going to have here versus Davante Adams. Again, basically gets isolated. Looks like the Dolphins end up kind of going into a cover 2, which is interesting because he's kind of reading number 2 in this situation. And this is a good rep by Duck because he is the flat defender here. You can see how they rotate this. Holland goes back to be a deep half. I think Kohu goes back to be a deep half here. But Duck does a really good job reading through to the quarterback, but he's reading number 2. And once number 2 doesn't work out, he knows he basically is kind of just going to gain depth to carry Adams if he works vertically because he doesn't have anything to cover in the flat. So he does a great job gaining depth, not panicking too, because he kind of turns back into Adams like, hey, should I play in through that to the receiver? But he just doesn't panic, turns and locates the ball, and then goes up and plays through the catch point to knock it out. That's a really good rep in cover 2 and understanding. Like, I think other reps in cover 2 earlier in the season, he kind of struggled, especially because he would let the receivers kind of get behind him and he wouldn't have a feel for where things were. He was trying to leverage multiple route concepts. But I think when he can gain depth like this, definitely more of a comfortability. I think press man and then usually in like a cover 3, because cover 3 kind of he's almost looks like he's playing as a deep third. It's not that's not what that coverage was, but there was a similarity to it. I think that's usually where he's at his most comfortable, and I think Dolphins ran cover 3 a lot last year, and I think more cover 1 this year. That should help him out. Here, man to man with receiver down in the red zone, just does a good job. He's more of a an off man coverage. He's off about 5 yards, but he does a really good job. I think plays with good his technique here, his body positioning. Like he's playing with good knee bend. He's got a good base. Like he's not getting too heel clicky with his feet, and it allows he's staying patient as well. He stays square the whole time, which allows him to transition better. Because I feel like when he's not square, the transitions aren't as clean. He plays through the catch points, knocks that ball out. Really good job from Duck. A guy that's willing to get we're gonna see him throw some bump and run stuff. Like here, he throws that to disrupt the route timing and then gains depth. Dolphins in cover 2 again. Like as I'm saying, he does a good job gaining depth in cover 2 because he does that. Kind of reads where the receiver is going, and he just gets out and gains depth initially. Probably not what he should have done because should have played to this number 2 receiver. But then he just hey, I'm just gonna get out there, get over the top, make this a hard throw. Doesn't want to get beat to try to spin the needle, and then here flying downhill. You can see the explosiveness. He kind of loses balance. Look at the explosiveness that he has. He's got explosiveness to even falling down, beat this receiver. Look how he flies past, or I think that's Gibson, the running back. He flies past him and then trips up the receiver for a tackle near the line of scrimmage. Really nice rep. I think overall versus screens, he's a pretty good player. He's definitely a willing tackler. He's not the strongest guy in the world, but he's definitely willing to get physical. Versus screen game, bump and run. Here, flat-footed reads. He's just sitting. I think in cover 2, when he can play downhill, it's more comfortable, coming downhill, making a tackle, limit that gain. I think when, if this route, say Jacoby Myers' route worked to the outside and he had to gain depth, I don't think he would have felt it super well. But he does a good job playing downhill, more of a top-down type of corner in those situations. But I love the physicality. Like here he is playing bump and run. Get up there, get physical. On DeAndre Hopkins is one of the more physical receivers in the league. Throw off the route timing. Quarterback gets back to this. Route timing's thrown off. Hopkins tries to slow down. Kohu's now able to get there in the throwing lane. Almost gets to pick himself because of how willing and physical Duck is to be able to be in bump and run. And I hope they do more of this next season, even if they're not playing press man. Allow your corners to play bump and run in these cover two situations, especially when you're doing a lot of, rotation on the back end. Doing this can really throw off QB's timings because you're rotating on the back end, which can throw off, just their look and what they're expecting. And if then on, the front end here with the corners, they're being physical, everything can be thrown off, and then that can really change things. If your front four then can get after it, I think that's sort of the thought process the Dolphins have with not, attacking the corner room this offseason is having their guys do that because they brought in a lot of guys that can be physical at the line of scrimmage, and Duck, I think, also fits that profile, and that can help him out. That will only be better for him in year two. Willing to fill in versus the run as well. He made some nice plays versus the run. Here's like the example of kind of being taken out of position in cover two underneath. So they kind of get him with the eye candy here with Tony Pollard. They want Pollard to sit down and make Duck not gain enough depth, but he has to be able to gain depth to take away this throw to the corner here because he's a flat. So you want to be able to leverage both of these routes. Take away the deep throw with your with the depth, and then close downhill if they throw it underneath. Plus, based on where Pollard is, he's kind of floating to the inside. He's not quite in your area. If Pollard went to the here, I could understand Duck being a little more squeezing of that, but he kind of gets taken by the eye candy and doesn't feel the route behind him, and Hopkins gets a completion down the field. That's kind of where Duck will have some struggles at times. But as I'm saying, just examples of him. Really, I really like the stuff where like he doesn't look like he's gonna get physical at the line. He's kind of got where his hips are positioned. It looks like he's gonna bail out of this, but he sells that, gets up, catches receiver off guard. Look at the physicality, throws that off, and then opens up his hips and gets back out and bails. I think Drake May starts to look in this area right here, and there's really nowhere to go. Throws off the timing of it, basically forces him to check it down to the other side of the field. Really good work there from Duck. They give up this touchdown here versus Jaden Reed down in the red zone. Doesn't really get beat too bad, but it's just one of those situations where they kind of set him up, kind of lull him to sleep because they do the play action. Reed is faking that he's going to block, and then he breaks across, and Duck is just a little bit late to get there, which is unfortunate. Those reps will happen. I think when you're in one-on-one coverage, like you're not going to win all the time. I don't expect the Dolphins corners this year to win in one-on-one coverage just every single down. I think they have guys that can win more reps in those man-to-man situations, but it's probably one of the hardest jobs to do in the NFL. Like the receiver should beat you more often than they beat you in those situations. Like here, he is press man one-on-one, basically gets isolated because of how they play this. They're playing basically he's matched up, he's locked on. This is what they're calling locked on here because on the other side of the field, they're playing more of a quarters type look, and then he's poaching the backside to find number 3, this safety, so he gets left one-on-one with Christian Watson, and Watson's a very good vertical threat, like a 4-3 guy, and Duck doesn't even play it that bad. Like, he does a really good job initially at the line of scrimmage, and like, versus preseason guys, like, he's gonna win. He was winning all of these reps versus preseason guys, which shows that he, like, at least belongs in, like, in the league, but, like, we'll have some struggles, more versus very good players, which will show, like, he's probably more of a depth guy, but we'll see. I think you will see a little bit of a year 2 jump, and will probably be one of the guys that actually starts throughout the season, but we'll have definite, like, growing pains throughout the year. Like, there will be good reps, there'll be bad reps, but I think year 2 we'll see him just looking more comfortable. Because even when he loses here, he has the speed to carry him vertically. I think Watson does a good job kind of slowing down initially here, and then using that long arm to create separation with his hands, and then pull away late vertically. Because obviously Duck was carrying him. Like, he had the speed. Like, Duck's, got good speed as well. He just gets the late separation with the little shove, push off there. Here versus Devontae Adams, similar thing. Like, you're going against one of the league's, best receivers, and he doesn't do a bad job here either. Like, he's not allowing separation. It's just Adams responds. It's Adams, Rodgers, back shoulder. We've seen them take advantage of how many corners doing this. So, like, even though this is a loss, like, you give up the catch down the field, it's not that bad of a rep, and, like, pretty much almost every corner losing in this situation. 1-on-1. We've even seen Ramsey lose on those this year. He was getting burnt by Garrett Wilson a lot in these Jets games, but want to see him hopefully improve in that stuff. But you can see the press man potential even when he's losing in press man. The reps aren't that bad. Like, he's still not making horrible plays. He'll get involved versus the run, downhill, storm Duck. I think year 2 expectations. I expect him to take like a slight jump. I don't think I'm expecting like a big breakout from him, but I think he'll see a lot of playing time. I actually think I'm like, I mean, we got Ethan Bonner here at the bottom. I want to see Bonner play this season. I'm going to make videos on Isaiah Johnson, Ethan Bonner, guys that I think could potentially see in like, a more man heavy system, see a little bit bumps. And, we've seen OTA so far. Storm Duck and Ethan Bonner have had two of the orange jerseys, which I feel like, sometimes the orange jersey means nothing, but I feel like the Dolphins may be sending a message being like, hey, we're expecting more out of the corner group than maybe others are. We'll see. I think Duck is a guy that's already kind of outplayed where, end up for being an undrafted free agent. Like, I think, a lot of these guys will end up getting hate throughout the season just because they're going to go in and have their losses going against number one receivers, number two receivers in the league. But they're going to be, they're we're UDFAs that have outplayed expectations, and they're asked to do one of the toughest jobs, and they're going against top guys. So I'm excited to see what Duck does. He has an elite name, so make sure to like, comment, and subscribe. Until next time, peace.